Hi friends, it's Valerie. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to this week's What's for Dinner. If you are new here, I would love if you would hit that subscribe button and join my YouTube family. And don't forget to leave a like or a comment down below because it really does help my channel. This week's What's for Dinner, I've got some new meals for you. I don't know if I've made Pozole Verde for you before, but it's one of our favorite things. We don't normally have it in the summertime, but the boyfriend had COVID after he came back from vacation. I was starting to feel like I got it. I've just been staying home nonetheless just to be safe, but I thought some soup would do us good, and that is one of our favorites, so I went ahead and made that for y'all as well. And anyways, let's just get started. Starting off with a couple of steaks here. I've got some filet mignon, but whatever cut of steak you have, that's fine. I am using this Kinder's Prime steak seasoning. This stuff is delicious. I put some avocado oil on each of the steaks and I put the seasoning all over them. And I'm just using the Ninja Foodie grill for this. I put it on high grill heat and it's about 8 to 10 minutes max for the doneness that I like. I do have internal thermometers that really does help when making stuff like that. And then as a side, I have a tablespoon of olive oil in a pan over medium heat, and I've added in a package of sliced mushrooms. I'm just using portobello mushrooms, like the baby bellas, and I'm adding some just garlic to that. The recipe I'll have linked for you doesn't call for it, but I'm adding just whatever amount looks good to me to that, and then a quarter teaspoon each of salt and pepper. I'm giving that all a good stir, and then I sauteed that for just a few minutes and let the mushrooms soften a bit. And then I'm adding in spinach, about 2 cups worth or so of that, and I'm just letting that also just wilt down and saute for a couple more minutes, just until it's nice and wilted. And you can season with some additional seasoning, salt, pepper, whatever you like. And I just served this up with some instant mashed potatoes. These are the roasted garlic ones. I love these so much. They are so delicious. And they make a meal like this just have a nice side that doesn't compromise in flavor. And what I love about this is it's a very nice meal, but it's also very quick and just super delicious. I'm starting this off by prepping some of the veggies I'll need. So I'm dicing up a yellow onion. I'm gonna need about a half a cup of that, and then I cut some carrots into some like matchsticks so I could just dice those up into some smaller pieces. You'll also need about a quarter cup of that. I just did a whole carrot. I didn't want to only use part of it, so it's gonna be a little bit extra carrot. Same thing with the celery. I just had some celery. I diced it into cut it into some sticks first and dice that up. And then I'm also going to need a tablespoon of lemon zest later, so I'm just zesting that right now to just keep this all on one cutting board. And then to a large skillet, I'm adding in 3 tablespoons of butter, and I'm melting this over medium heat. Now, I did notice this was browning very quickly over medium heat, so I added a little bit of avocado oil to kind of like bring that smoke point down a little bit, because butter can brown really quickly. I also added in a half a teaspoon of black pepper, a quarter teaspoon of salt, and then a half a teaspoon of paprika. And then I add in that lemon zest. I zested the whole lemon because I'm gonna have a little bit more tilapia than what it's called for. I'm stirring that all together to kind of get those seasonings dissolving there, but I'm also trying to avoid this burning anymore because it was just really looking, I know that the paprika is going to make it look really like a rusty color because of the color of paprika, but I was really worrying about those seasonings really burning up. Thankfully in the end it worked out fine. I was worried probably for nothing, but anyways, I added in about a pound of tilapia. It's a little bit more than a pound because I wanted 4 whole pieces in there. And so I put them in the pan and I cooked them for 6 minutes on one side, flipped them, and cooked them for an additional 6 minutes. I also did add some lemon juice that I didn't picture here. Just some of that lemon that I zested, I squeezed just a little bit of that fresh lemon juice in there as well. When it's done cooking, I removed that from the pan. I cleaned it up with just some paper towels really quick. I didn't wash the pan, but I'm going to use that same pan. I'm going to add in, I did 2 tablespoons of butter because I have that little bit extra vegetable. And then once it's melted, I put the cut veggies in there. I'm seasoning that with half a teaspoon of salt, and it doesn't call for any garlic powder, but I just sprinkled some on there. And I'm just gonna stir that all together to get that nice and coated in the butter. We're gonna let those saute for about 10 minutes or just until your carrots and celery are soft. My carrots did take longer than everything else, but it was no big deal. I may have added an extra minute or 2 to make sure they were to my liking of softness. Then I'm taking 2 10-ounce bags of frozen rice that I cooked to the directions on the package in the microwave, and I'm going to add those in. You can also just add in like cooked rice that you already have. It's no big deal. And then just stir that all together until it's all well combined. And this is all it plated. I made some asparagus in the air fryer really quick. I just used some of the Kinder's red garlic seasoning on that. And I put some extra lemon on the fish. I feel like it needed a little bit extra lemon for my liking. Could have maybe used a little bit more salt as well. That's just going to be to preference. But this was a really delicious meal. I really enjoyed that rice a lot. We really liked that. So overall, this is definitely a keeper recipe for me. I had some of these prepackaged papusas by Del Real Foods, and they weren't meant to be a dinner for us. They were just going to kind of be something we snacked on, but we never used them, so I figured make a dinner out of it. I just heat them according to their package directions for the like pan frying, which is really just browning both sides. Now these definitely need some kind of sauce or something like that, so I whipped together just some sour cream and salsa. I just kind of mixed together what I liked from that. Need a little bit more heat for my liking though, so I did add some Valentina sauce. That's my favorite hot sauce, so I just added that again, just stirring in the amounts that I like to my taste, and a little bit of salt to bring out some of those flavors. I also made some Spanish rice to go on the side with this. I will link a video where I've made that rice before for y'all, and you can refer to that if you want to know how to make it. But overall, this was a good meal. We'd never had this chipotle chicken papusa before, and it was actually really good. Definitely going to get those again just for like snack purposes, like really quick meal, because they were really delicious. And I like to freeze up like my Spanish rice, like some of it on the side, because it's really great reheated. So quick throw together meal if you ever need that. I had one of these Simply Dinners Hidden Valley like prep kits that you can easily bread some pork chops or chicken if you wanted. I took the dry seasoning, put it in one of the containers, and I'm taking an egg in the other one and just fork whisking that together. Now I have some really thin pork chops here. They are thin boneless pork chops. I'm just taking that, dipping it into the egg mixture and then into the breadcrumb mixture, and I'm placing that on a baking sheet that I just put down one of those like baking mats on, but you can just use foil or parchment paper or whatever you like. And I'm just going to repeat that same process with all of those thin pork chops. And of course you can use a thicker pork chop as well as using any bone-in pork chop if that's your preference. And I'm going to be baking these at 425 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes, flipping halfway through. Now for the side, I'm adding about 4 tablespoons of butter to my Dutch oven over medium heat. I'm going to let that melt, and I've went ahead and diced up 5 cloves of garlic in my little chopper here. I'm adding that in. I'm going to give it a quick stir and let that garlic just become aromatic for about 30 seconds to a minute, not letting it burn. And then I'll add in 1 cup of uncooked long grain rice. I am stirring that to get that coated in all that mixture, and then I'm adding in a cup of milk as well as a cup of water. You could definitely use broth in place of that, and then a half a teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon black pepper. And I'm using some of this roasted garlic bouillon base. It's just needed to use it up, but it's not like asked for in the recipe or anything, but I thought that would give it some good flavor that would make this rice really delicious, and I really liked it. And I'm just kind of stirring that together really well to dissolve that bouillon, and then I'm going to cook this, like reduce the heat once it comes to a boil. I'm going to cook this for about 20 minutes with the lid on it, and once it's done, I'm just stirring that all together. I'm going to add in the Parmesan cheese. It's about a half a cup's worth, and then about 4 cups of spinach, and I'm kind of just getting that spinach pushed under the rice a little bit so it can start to wilt and get in that heat. I did place the lid on that to help wilt that spinach, and just did that for a few minutes, and then I gave it a good stir again. And it calls for 1 tablespoon of chopped parsley in it and 1 tablespoon as garnish. I just kind of like snipped up maybe 1 to 2 tablespoons worth in the whole rice and mixed that in as well. I'm also going to make some corn on the side. I'm taking corn with this Weber garlic Parmesan seasoning, and I just air fry that at 400 degrees for about 10 minutes. That's just going to depend how soft you like your corn. And this is it all plated up. This was really delicious. I liked that Parmesan rice. It was really, really good. And I've been loving corn in the air fryer like this. And then you couldn't never beat a pork chop. And I really liked that kit was all together. You just had the seasonings all mixed together. Made my life really easy. Not that it's very hard to combine those ingredients for a breading, but it's nice to make a quick meal like that. For this recipe, you're going to need some shredded chicken. I'm just putting some chicken breast in the Instant Pot that I'll shred up. That's just going to cook for about 14 minutes at high pressure and with a 10-minute natural release. And then I'm just going to shred it up. This is a rough estimate of what you're going to need here. So you're going to need about 8 to 10 tomatillos, 1 white onion, about 3 to 5 jalapenos, 2 to 3 poblanos, and 1 bunch of cilantro. And you are going to want to char up all of the ingredients I just listed to you except for the cilantro. So I'm just using the Ninja Foodie Grill for that. If you have a gas stove, that's going to be an amazing way to char up all of this. It's the best way, but I don't have that, so I'm just using this. I just put them in there at the highest heat, and I kind of just flip them when they get nice and dark and black and charred, and you'll see the skin start to get nice and bubbly. Same thing with the onion, will get nice and just grilled up a little bit. I just sliced that in half to make it easier. As you can see, I put the tomatillos to the side and I have the jalapenos there in a bowl. I like to sweat these with like the lid. You can put them in a bag, whatever works best for you, but I just use a glass bowl and I put a lid on that. And I'm using gloves here. It's what I recommend. I know I got some purple gloves on here, but it's all I had, and I was not touching all these chilies. I definitely don't recommend that. You're going to regret that if that's what you do. But I'm gonna do taking all the seeds out. It just comes out really easy. I also like to remove the skins. You don't have to do that on the jalapenos. It's just a preference. And I just give it a rinse to get all those seeds off. And then you'll see the poblanos there as they're finished, nice and bubbly. Again, just placing the lid on to let them sweat. And same thing, I'm just gonna peel them. I do prefer to peel these for sure. And then pull out the stem, same thing, remove the seeds, give them a rinse. The more of the rib you'll take off of jalapenos or the poblanos is going to take away more of the heat if you don't like so much of that hot and spiciness. That's where I was saying it's going to vary depending on the amount of jalapeno and poblano is your spice level. Then I placed all of that into the blender, the cilantro with all those things we just roasted up, and I am just going to blend it till it's nice and smooth like a salsa basically. And then I'm going to put that into the bottom of a pan. You're going to need some hominy. So I'm taking this big can of hominy. I like a lot of hominy, so definitely using this big one. It's like 110 ounces. And I do rinse that to get all the, just like, there's some cloudiness in the can and things I just like to rinse off. But I didn't get the clip of me pouring the green salsa into the pan. But I did pour it in there, and I put a little water to get the remaining out of the blender. And then I add in my cleaned up hominy here. I give it all a good stir. Now this is going to be a lot to preference here, so you're just kind of taste it however you like it. I put the broth remaining from the chicken that was cooked. I added in some extra water because I like it more soupy. So this, like I said, it's just going to become a preference. And then I'm adding some chicken bouillon. That Nor is going to be real good for this. I'm adding at least 6 tablespoons into this. Again, add and taste, and then some salt will help bring out all those flavors. Salt really does amplify other flavors, so definitely recommend adding a good pinch of that, hefty pinch of that, and then add in your shredded chicken. I only use 2 of my chicken breasts because I don't like the chicken to overpower the hominy. I really like hominy. That's going to be your choice. You want to amp that up some more protein, add all your chicken, and then just stir it all together and taste, and add more water if you need. And I like to serve this up with cut up radishes, and I like fresh lime juice squeezed in there. I had a tortilla I needed to use up, so I just made it on the side, but it wasn't it. I needed tostada on the side. Tostada is a great way to eat this. That's how we do prefer it. But this meal was very delicious. We really, really love this a lot. It's like a comfort food. It's nice. It's good when you're sick, even better. But it has so much flavor, and I could eat this for days on end. So I hope that you enjoy this kind of meal if that's your thing. This last night we just had some takeout pizza. We get this place local to us called Baby Bros. It's really good. We get a pizza called The Works. We added pineapple this time because it sounded delicious, and we saw it on TV and it looked really good, so that's why we got this. Also got some of their potato wedges and some wings. I like a good mild buffalo wing, but we tried the honey barbecue ones and those were amazing. So overall this was very good. Thanks so much for watching, friends. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that little bell so you don't miss out on any future videos, and I hope you all have a great day.